Okay, let's begin. So we are starting the budgeting concepts today. Can you hear my voice? Please confirm.
Yes, sir. Your voice is
Okay,
clear.
okay, let's go ahead. So, like budgeting concepts. See, today we are discussing budgeting concepts. This particular new chapter we are starting today. So, like budgets, as I have started my first class, I explained you what is a budget. A budget is nothing but a financial plan. That means you draw up everything, whatever you want to spend in the future on paper beforehand. That means if you have a plan that you want to do some activity, you want to perform some activity, or you want to visit some place, you want to go to some place, and you think that in the future you're going to spend money on all that, so you don't want yourself to end up spending a higher amount because of improper planning or because of no plan at all. So like beforehand, if you plan that what is that you're going to spend, and what is and like whatever you're going to spend, you will be spending in a very efficient way. That means there shouldn't be any case that you'll be spending money exuberantly, lavishly, or in an unplanned manner. You budget or you prepare a budget. Okay. So let's go for this. The relationship among planning, budgeting, and performance evaluation. See, planning is nothing but thinking before doing anything is called planning. Budgeting is nothing but you're planning. You put your plan, whatever you're doing related to your spending or finances, you're putting up on your paper. That is budgeting. See, planning is thinking before doing anything is called planning. The financial plan for the future you're putting up on paper today itself, you're drawing up on paper today itself, is budgeting. Okay. And then you make budgets, so that in actuality whatever happens in the future, you can compare that with your estimates. Suppose I have made a budget whereby I wanted to visit Paris, and I had a budget of spending $1 lakh for visiting the for like completing the visit of that particular city and coming back to my home. I have made a budget of $1 lakh, and when in actuality I spent money, I saw that I ended up like spending $80,000. So $20,000, whatever I have put an estimate, I saved, it seems. That's a very good thing, isn't it so? And that is a part of performance evaluation. Okay. So management develops the plan, which has the goals, objectives, and a proposed plan of action for the future. Of course, the plan includes company's short-term as well as long-term goals and objectives, and its business opportunities and risks. Yes, so plan takes into consideration all the factors, like what is a short-term goal of a company. Short-term goal can be revenue enhancement, profit maximization. Long-term can be expansion, merger, acquiring some other company, etc. And accordingly, objectives and business opportunities and risks. That means they definitely have some. They get a lot of opportunities, and they also face risks. Okay, in their journey. Just a second. Just a second. So, for example, a plan may look at the future from the perspective of expanding. As I've given you all the examples, you can find it here on the screen. So the plan developed by management leads to the formulation of annual profit plan. Yes. See, the plans are developed by the management. They are the ones who are responsible for making making all these strategies and plans, and their ultimate goal is nothing but to earn profits at the end of the year. Okay, and to earn profits, you need to make your estimates beforehand. That is nothing but budget. Okay, so you know see, suppose you want to produce some particular product, so you are involved in production process. For production you require raw material. Okay, and for making the product, this raw material has to be processed, and you require two things for that: labor and also some expenses you will be spending. That's called overhead. So you make budget for this, you make budget for this, you make budget for this, and then when the product is ready for making this product, you are spending even other expenses also. So expenditure budget or overhead budget mean the same. And then what happens, like you want to sell this product, so you make sales budget. Material, in the sense material usage budget. We'll be learning everything in the coming chapters. And then this, like these all whatever I have explained you, then you'll be making budgets of all this, and you'll be getting estimates of everything, which you will be putting in budgeted financial statements at the end of the year. So you'll be making budgeted financial statements at the end of the year, which would be budgeted statement of profit or loss, and also you'll be making budgeted statement of financial position. So you know what I speak here, whatever the estimates you get from your budgets, whatever you make, those estimates again you take here and make these two. So you have budgeted financial statements and budgeted statement of financial position and budgeted statement of profit or loss. With that you get your estimates of profit, and then what you do with your plans and whatever the objectives you have made, you want to achieve, you have an estimate of profit. Then what you do in actuality, you check whether you're able to achieve those profits or not. So that is what you do in this processes. Okay. So the profit plan expresses management's plan for a future in quantitative terms. The profit plan also identifies the resources that will be required in order to fulfill management's goals and objectives, and how the resources will be allocated. Okay, so profit plan identifies the resources that are required to fulfill management's goals. And see, you know, to like fulfill your goals, you should have resources. Until and you should have resources, and resources can be raw material, cash, everything. So you should have resources to fulfill your goals and objectives. Okay, and these resources are to be utilized for all that. So I already have explained you, resources can be raw material, like capital, labor, everything. Now managers at all levels need to reach an understanding of what is expected, and budgets can lead to changes in plans and strategies. Of course you make budgets so that, like, in future you see whatever you have planned and drawn up on the paper, whether that is enough for you to achieve your goals, or like you need to make some changes. So that comes under feedback. Okay, see, I make a plan that I'll be finishing the Paris trip for $1 lakh, but you know, we have already discussed a budget. Whatever is made should be very much attainable. That means you should not make such budgets which are not attainable, but it seems some things would be attainable for us. Then again, if there is some kind of change required in the future, we can do that to our estimates. Correct? So budget can plan lead to changes in plans and strategies. Budgets provide feedback to the planning process. Yes, you planned it, you spent, you have your estimates in your hand, you spend. See, now let's take Ganesh festival into consideration. In our society, we are going to celebrate Ganesh festival. So we made an estimate that we want 2.5 lakh rupees for 5 days to celebrate. Now then, after getting an estimate, we started our process of collecting money from each and every resident. Then what happened? Then we got a collection of 3 lakhs, and then we have surplus, and then we can comfortably celebrate a festival. So this is what, when you plan and then you get a feedback, you really are much more, we are much more relieved people right now, that what we wanted, we have got enough funds for that. Okay, so a feedback is also what you look for. So this feedback may then be used by managers to revise their plans. So see, if now say, let's say we are getting some less amount in this, we are getting 2.2 lakhs, then we need to rethink from where we can get more funds for celebrating the festival. That's what again we can formalize. We can formalize that one. That means we can again like formulate, or we can again plan like how to go about that like deficit money. Okay, so once the plans and budget have been coordinated and the budget has been adopted for coming period, as the organization carries out its plans to achieve the goals it has set, the master budget is the document that organization relies upon as its operating plan. So here I have given you all the details of what budgets a company prepares. So if I combine all these budgets, it becomes a master budget. Okay, that's what you should understand. In master budget you have the budgeted figures of all the budgets whatever you have prepared, or the estimates whatever you have got. Okay, and better plan leads to a better control. That's what it means. It's a controlling tool. So companies management are involved in all this, and then variance analysis happens to see the performance, what you have made the estimates and what in actuality you got. Suppose I made an estimate that I'll be generating, or my company would be we would be generating a revenue of 1.2 lakhs, and in reality we only were able to generate 1 lakh of the revenue. So what do you mean by this? We are The situation is favorable or unfavorable? Unfavorable. Now we need to plan accordingly so that we can generate more revenues, or what we should do to generate more revenues. Let's say we made the revenues, what we wanted is what we wanted to generate was 1 lakh. We were able to generate 1.5 lakh of revenues. So we are in a scenario which is favorable scenario for us. That means it's good. And now we should again think how to increase that to a, or how to enhance the revenues to more higher extent. Okay, so sometimes the comparison of actual results to the profit plan will result in revision of. See what happens here. I'm not able to achieve actual in both the cases. See, you planned 1 lakh and you got 1 lakh. That's a coincidence, and that most often doesn't happen. You planned 1 lakh and you got 1 lakh, 1 point. You planned 1 lakh and you got 1.2 lakhs. Very good. You planned 1 lakh, you got 80K. Not good. So here you should think to improve this. You should again make strategies to improve this. I mean, say to convert this into profits. So advantages of budget is nothing but when properly developed and administered, budgets promote coordination and communication among organizations, units and activities. Yeah, see, if I say purchase department, if I say storekeeping department, so storekeeping department is again having a lot of activities. That is purchase, that is storage, that is dispatch. So all these three activities come under this. So if the storekeeping department manager should know about purchases, storage and dispatch, there are assistant managers appointed for all these three sub departments of storekeeping department. So they have to report it to the storekeeping manager, who is the head of all these three managers, correct? So there is a coordination between these three departments, and they also communicate whatever they want to give the feedback to the storekeeping manager. So coordination and communication enhances, or this particular budget promotes coordination and communication. Storekeeping department would ask for budgets to whom? To purchase manager. To whom? To storage manager. To whom? To dispatch department manager. And in this way they are communicating with each other, coordinating with each other. Now budgets provide a framework for measuring performance. Of course, you make your estimates and you compare it with actual results. They motivate. It's a motivation for managers and employees. Why? Because if you wanted something to achieve and your desired results are very much favorable. I wanted to achieve a revenue of 1 lakh, but I'm able to achieve a revenue of 1.5 lakhs. Now, what does it say? It is that the management is successful in getting the desired results of 1.5 lakhs. See, I made an estimate of 1 lakh, but I'm able to get more than that. So it's good for me. It motivates me to work harder and achieve this feat again and again. Promote efficient allocation of organizational resources. Yes, since you budget everything beforehand, you already have a plan how much how much resources are to be utilized or used for particular activity, whatever are going to be performed in the future. So that means you are efficiently allocating things. Okay, provide a means for controlling operations and provides a mean to check provides a mean to check on progress toward the goals. So coordination and communication explained. Measuring performance is nothing but you make budgets and you have your figures, estimates. Suppose 1.5 lakhs is what you wanted the revenue. 1.5 lakhs is able to generate. So the performance is very good. It's favorable. Okay. And then that motivates the managers and employees. I already explained you right now. Then there is efficient allocation of resources. That means you should see you should not fall short of any resources. You should see that, and you cannot compromise on the quality also. So how you are doing the work you should do, but you should see wastage shouldn't happen in any of the processes. You should achieve economies of scale. As you know what I mean by economies of scale. This one word is more than enough to explain you the entire scenario. Correct. So they have given an example. For example, the process of developing the production budget requires projections for direct material and direct labor that will be required to produce the planned output. So you beforehand plan that how much material and labor you want. Okay, and then you have your estimates in your hands. See, you wanted let's say metal of 100 units to make a product, and you were able to make the product for just say 95 units. So 5 units you save. That's good. You can utilize for another process. So that's what it makes you to see what you have allocated and in actuality how much you are using. So beforehand you are making your estimates. So there shouldn't be any kind of constraint. Constraint is nothing but this is a bottleneck resource, or you should not have any kind of things which any kind of shortage. So if I give an example of constraint, I have an academy in which I have 30 seats. So I cannot like accommodate more than 30 students. So for me the constraint is what? Space. So given constraints whatever I have, given the limitations whatever I have, given the bottleneck resources whatever I have, I should plan in such a way that taking that, how come I can take advantage of that limited space. So here if I take a student who is paying me 1,000 rupees and I take one batch, let's say I work for entire day and 1,000 rupees is what I'm charging from a student and 30 students, so I get 30k. If I charge 5,000 rupees per student and such courses if I reduce, I get 1.5 lakhs. Okay, which is not what is happening with me. Uh, I'm trying my level best to achieve good revenues, but since I'm into like teaching profession, I'm not looking for all this profitable things. But what I see is I should be able to recover all my expenses. So if I go in this way, I'm able to take advantage of the limited space what I have. So budgets, you consider all these factors also. Okay. Now let's do a practical question and understand this. What is happening? So let's say what does the example say? Okay. So Carl Corporation has only 3,000 machine hours available to produce its products. It is operating at full capacity and can sell all the products it manufactures. Carl Corporation produces two products. That is, one is rack for electric equipment and file cabinets also. So these are the two products they make. And how many hours is available for them? Can I say this is the constraint? That means they cannot work more than these hours? Yes. The price and variable cost and the number of machine hours required to produce each product are as follows. So they are giving a division to you. Selling price for rack is this much, cabinets is this much, variable cost is this much for them, contribution is this. So you see the file cabinet contribution is better than racks, correct? When you see per unit wise. Let's go ahead. Here the machine hours per unit, that means to make 1 unit of rack the machine would work for 2 hours. To make 1 unit of cabinet the machine would work for 4 hours. And which product should Carl Corporation budget to produce using its available 3,000 machine hours, assuming fixed costs are the same under either option? So please go to this question once you can read this and we will discuss the answer. Once done, please let me know. Yes, have you finished? Please confirm me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Now, so you can see this. Let's see the solution and find out which one is the better one. So since the constraint, the bottleneck resource or the limitation is with machine hours, now Carl Corporation should see, given the limited hours what they have, which one would be more beneficiary for them to produce. Okay, because they cannot take more hours to produce either of the products. So we'll see the contribution margin per contribution per machine hour. We'll see which one has a higher contribution per machine hour. So Rack's contribution margin per machine hour is how much? 250 by 2. So this is $250 is the contribution margin, and machine hours per unit is 2. That means 2 hours it takes for them to make, 2 hours they take to make 1 unit of rack. So if I see the contribution per hour, if I want to make, I want to find out, this is 2 hours the machine is used, but I want per hour contribution. So I get 125, and here per hour contribution is 75. So clearly this wins rack, correct? Contribution margin per unit is more in this. That means if 1 hour the machine is working, you are making how much per unit? You are getting how much contribution? $125. Please tell me yes or no. And if you are not getting this, let me tell you what is contribution.
Sales minus variable cost.
Yeah, instead of that, I'd give you a better version. The excess of revenue over variable cost is contribution. This is something, not a strange thing. Everyone knows this. But you know, if your sales is, let's say, $100, variable cost is, let's say, $60. So excess of revenue over variable cost is how much? $40. That's your contribution. That means you still have how much with you? How much revenue part you have with you?
40.
Please tell me. You have $40 of revenue still available with you, from which you can remove, you can adjust your fixed expenses. Let's say it's $10. That is fixed cost. So you get $30 profit. Correct? That's what I meant to explain you. I meant to explain you. So here the contribution margin per unit is more and here it is less. So even though the contribution margin, so we saw the contribution margin for file was more, but per unit it is less. For rack it was less, but per unit it is more. That means you are getting more benefit if the machine is working for rack, isn't it so? So even though contribution margin for one file cabinet is higher than the contribution margin, but per hour we see it like racks are good, and returns would be great if racks are used, given the scarce resource or limited machine hours what you have. So that proof is also given to you. 1500 racks, like 3000 machine hours you have, and will be able to make 1500 racks, because 3000 hours divided by 2 racks you can make in 1 hour. So 1500 racks you can make, correct? That's what they say, 2 hours per unit. So it takes 2 hours for you to make 1 unit of rack. So 3000 racks will be making 3000 hours if you work, and 2 hours per rack it takes, it will be 1500 racks what you can make. This is total hours, this is per unit hour. So this is racks. And when you see, so 1500 into 250 will give you this much. And in that case, 3000 by 4 will give you 750 file cabinets, and 750 into per file cabinet will give you this much. So it is way better, correct? Go to the solution. We'll go to the next part. Yeah, once done, please tell me.
Three lakh 75,000 is the profit for the racks.
What, madam? Sorry.
Yeah, 3,75,000 is profit
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the.
is the yeah, that's the contribute total contribution.
Yeah,
In case of racks and file cabinets, 2,25,000.
yeah. Then the company goes to manufacture racks only.
Yeah, they'll go for racks only. Yes, yes. Okay. So moving forward now, I would like you to do this as a homework. If you are not getting, tomorrow I'll explain this question. See, please take it seriously. Read the matter very
Sir, it
properly.
is not in this textbook, sir. Which question? Question number 40, sir.
Actually, the thing is, I've given you the new version. Mine is the old one. So you can take a screenshot of this matter.
Yeah, sir. Wait, sir, please.
Yeah, please take no problem. I'll just have some water in the back. 2 minutes.
Yes, sir, done, sir.
Okay. Like, should we do it? So now controlling operations and checking on progress toward goals. See, budget leads you to a better control, isn't it? So why? Because it's a financial plan which you have drawn on a paper or put on a paper. So budget is a financial plan. You plan everything. How will you allocate your resources? your labor resources, your finances, everything, and then you have an estimate with you, and you check that with the actual, and you do the variances, and you see favorable and unfavorable results. What do you have? So in case of labor, let's say we decided that $1,000 is what is going to be our expenditure for labor, but we ended up spending $1,200. So our cost is more, it's unfavorable. If we would have like restricted our expenses to $800, we would have saved $200. That would have been favorable. So these all things we can see, and budgets we prepare, then we also prepare a variance report to check the results, or it's called performance evaluation. Okay. Now let's go for the next topic. Budgets can also be prepared on continuous basis. Yeah, they make monthly budgets, they make quarterly budgets. Okay, it's not only yearly budgets what they make monthly, quarterly, half yearly. Okay. So at all times, budget covers a set number of months, quarters, years into the future. Each month or quarter, the month or quarter just completed is dropped, and a new monthly or quarterly budget is added to the end of the budget. So that's called rollover, budget rollover. That means you make a budget, and then you get the figures of that budget, that estimates, and again you take that estimate, make one more budget. You take those estimates, you make one more budget. So each month or quarter, suppose let's say Jan month, I am taking monthly. Uh, each month or quarter, the month or quarter just completed is dropped. So this is, suppose this is completed, this is dropped now, and new monthly, then comes Feb, then we make the budget for this. Okay, and a new monthly or quarterly budget is added to the end of the budget. That means here the Jan budget is with us, and we have all the figures. We add up the figures of Feb to this, and we get 2 months budget, then 3, then 4, like that. It becomes yearly budget. For example, as I said you, in September 2003, the rolling budget will cover the months of October through September 2004. Okay. In October, the rolling budget will cover the months of November through October. That means they make next month budget, and the previous month budget is included. Figures are there. At the same time, as a month or quarter is dropped and a new month or quarter is added, the other periods in the budget can be revised to reflect any new. So now we have the next month's budget, and we are going to make the March or April's, and we can then make estimates for those months. If any changes are required, accordingly we can plan. Isn't it so? That means January, and we started some particular process, and we had an estimate with us. But what has happened is, after starting the process, we realized that some changes are required to our plans. So we can accordingly do that. That is the only benefit of rolling or continuous budget. You can accordingly plan. After 1 or 2 months, you understand the process and everything, and then you can accordingly make certain changes to your next coming month's budgets. So when continuous budget is used, budgeting and planning are always being done. So it's a never ending process, and not a process which is like, which is like stopped or something. It's a continuous process. It's not a process which is whereby any kind of hiccups, or we can say any kind of restriction, breaks, you put breaks to your work. No, you continuously do that. A budget for next full period, usually 12 months, is always in place. That means, yeah, you make for the 12 months, it becomes a yearly budget. Budget is more likely, if you make continuous budget, it is always up to date, and then the managers are more likely to pay attention to budgeted operations for the full budget period. So no longer long-term budgets are made. Now continuous budgets are made in various companies. How will you make budget? The methods of developing the budget. So there are 3 methods in which budgets are prepared. One is participative, one is authoritative, one is consultative. With the name itself, you can understand participative is nothing but you also there's a space for lower level employees also to join in the budgeting process. That means to give their viewpoints in the budgeting process. It's not like the top level management is going to make the budgets and everyone has to follow. The lower level employees are also going to become a part of, are also involved in the budget process. Okay. So participative budget is developed from the bottom. All the people affected by the budget are involved in the budget development process, even lower level employees, because you know production department is connected with various other departments, and every department has a lot of people who are experts in the tasks of those particular departments, which are again connected to production department, and production again connected to other departments. So if all these guys are involved in production in budgeting process, a better budget can be made, because these guys know what on daily basis they face, and what kind of resources they require and everything. Authoritative budget is made by the senior management and everyone has to follow. There's no scope of anyone getting involved. Consultative is nothing but it's a combination of these two. Some things the top level management will be making and implementing, and some kind of suggestions they will also take from the lower level management. So benefits of participative budget is nothing but it's a good communication device. Chances are given to people. It's not like they kind of feel that they are not a part of such a crucial thing. Okay. And the process of preparing the budget participatively gives senior managers a better grasp of the problems their employees face, of course, and it helps them to understand at lower level what is the problem the employees are facing. Employees' knowledge is more specialized and they have the hands-on experience on running the business on a day-to-day basis. At the same time, employees gain a better understanding of problems experienced by the top management. Now, participative budget is more likely to gain employee commitment to fulfill budgetary goals. People are more willing to devote extra efforts to attain goals they perceive as their own. And participative budget is more likely to be achievable because everyone is involved in making that, is it? It's and the limitation says, like, unless senior management controls the budget process properly, participative budget, see, a lot of confusion can come. Like it will make the targets, like if top level management is involved, things become very easy, less time consuming. But here, asking opinions of everyone and taking viewpoints, like, it's a time consuming process. And budgetary slack, what do you mean by budgetary slack? It's a built-in cushion in a budget that seeks to increase chances of, see, what you do is, it's a deliberate, you try to underestimate. See, I will say, suppose I can do a task in 10 days, but I purposefully say that I'll do it in 14 days. Why? I'm trying to underestimate, I'm deliberately underestimating my like caliber. Why? I want to keep a cushion of 4 more days. That means I see if I get some fever, if I am like involved in other work also, if there's some emergency whereby I cannot like focus. So I keep a cushion of 4 days deliberately. That means wantedly. Understood? That is called budgetary slack. That means you keep some flexibility. That, like, no, we can 10 hours is what we can do, that standard, but let's keep 12 hours or 14 hours for a task to perform. Why? Because anything can happen. Did you understand what is budgetary slack? I'll write it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So keeping a cushion. So budgetary slack. It is the deliberate. Okay, it is the practice. I'll keep things simple. Practice of overestimating the expenses. Why we do that is, if we keep the things like very restricted. Let's say we have made a budget and we restricted our expenses to 10,000 rupees. Some party we want to make. What would happen is, if we restrict this in 10,000 and if we cannot do we see that, like, it's very tough to achieve. We always keep a budgetary slack of, like, we overestimate. We keep, like, let's say 12,000, let's keep. If we are able to do it in 10,000, very happy. Not then we have already prepared ourselves that 12,000 is what maximum can happen, correct? So practice of overestimating expenses or underestimating revenues. Deliberately, wantedly, and why we do this? Like, nothing but cushioning ourselves, correct? It's like a cushion. It provides a cushion to us. Now, so budgetary, budgetary slack, which will be discussed later, like more depth, like underestimating or overestimating, as I've already explained. Integrating corporate strategic plans into budget can be more difficult when it has bottom up process. Yes, and you need to listen to the people who are at the lower level, because for higher level people it will be very tough job. Participative budgeting is more time consuming, as I have explained. Authoritative budget is like, the decision making is done by only the senior authorities, and they don't give chance to anyone to get involved. It's not good at sometimes even. Budgetary slack is not a problem because they make slacks, or because they are senior management. Na? They know that they are not interacting with everyone in the company and with the lower level employees. So they keep a slack. Why? Because they know since the coordination and communication is not there, there can be some hidden expenses which can crop up. So they should be well prepared. They keep all these provisions in their estimates. And because low level managers and employees are not involved, at times the budget is less acceptable. It's like dictating the orders. Budget lacks input from lower level managers, so at times, again, based upon the limited knowledge, they are taking some decisions. Communication is not at all there. Benefit, consultative is a balancing act. You have both the things in this. So some from the senior and some from the lower level is good, and time also is not that high or not less. Balanced time, low and some initiative is given to lower level managers. And here the amount of time required to develop consultative budget is greater than time required for authoritative. Lower level managers feel their input has been disregarded. Yes, because see, they don't take it that seriously. They give chance, but at the end of the day, the senior topmost management will only decide what to be done. I think the topic is very lengthy, so we will continue the rest of the topic tomorrow. What say? Hello.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah, so I would like you to follow till here today.
Okay.
And and yesterday's video also, have you gone through, madam?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then tomorrow I'll wind up this chapter.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then immediately what we can do is we can start with next chapter. That is, next time we can go for the next topic. This is what? It's a lengthy one. So next topic will start. That is time series, I think. Okay?
Okay.
Forecasting techniques. Thank you so much.